This tutorial is going to discuss creating layers, how to put objects and different line work on layers, and how this can be helpful when you're creating design documents in AutoCAD. Right here we have some basic line work, and all of this line work was created on layer 0. Layer 0 is the default layer in AutoCAD. Now you probably won't get this far creating line work without already having developed some layers, but let's assume that you have, and we're going to talk about some strategies for putting line work on layers at this point. The first thing we'll do is type LA to open up our layer property manager. From here we can click the new layer icon to create a new layer. We'll go ahead and give it a name. In this case we'll call it tree canopy. There are a lot of different things that we can do with these layers. The first is the on, where by default our layers are going to turn on. We also have freeze, very similar to on, and we can turn on and off or freeze and thaw different layers. We have a layer lock, color, line type, line weight, transparency, and other properties that we can scroll over and see. The most important one for this tutorial that we're going to talk about is layer color. It's where we can change the layer color to any of our index colors or the 255 color options that we have in AutoCAD. In this case I'm going to choose index color 3 and say OK. Another important one that might be helpful is line type. Continuous line type is the default line type, which is just a solid line, and you can load a whole host of line types into your line type manager. Now that we've created this tree canopy layer, we're going to close our layer manager by clicking on the X and select one of our tree canopies. I'll then pull down from my layer panels up top and put that on the tree canopy layer. If you don't have this toolbar, you can simply type in dash toolbars, type in layers, and then click show. Mine is already showing, so it won't click that right there. Another option is to click on a line, right click, and go to its properties. A properties menu will show up, and you can change the layer type from the properties menu. When creating a new layer, the best way to layer a lot of objects in your scene is to use the match properties command. And that works like this. We'll type MA for match properties. We'll click on a source object. That's what our command line is asking us to do. And once we do that, we'll see that it has a paintbrush. What this will do is will allow us to paint by clicking on different objects and geometry in our AutoCAD drawing to put it on that particular layer. This becomes the most effective way to generate different layers in our design drawings. From here I'm going to skip ahead to a later version of this file right here. You can see that I've gone through that process and put all the different line work on different layers in my drawing. I'll type LA to open my layer property managers, and you can see all of those here. Now you notice a lot of them are red, and that's for a reason, because that's tied to my plot styles that we'll talk about in just a second. Once you've created a series of layers for your AutoCAD drawing, there's some pretty helpful tools at this point that will help you navigate through your drawing. One is LAYOFF. That stands for layer off. We'll hit that. What we can do is click on individual pieces in our scene and turn those layers off. You'll see that this will allow us to quickly clean up and work with our drawing in AutoCAD. I'll undo those commands by hitting U space to back up one step. Another one that's really helpful is layer ISO, which is LAYISO. From there I can actually click on one layer and isolate that single layer. I can also click on multiple layers if I just wanted to click on the geometry for the trees. I could isolate those layers and begin to work. Now Lay ISO has different settings. By clicking the command I can do different settings that change it from off, which is what I currently have, where it turns all the layers off, to lock and fade. Or what that does is it keeps all the other layers on, but it locks them and fades them so that I can't actually alter that geometry. I'll do undo to back out of this command. And one of the best things about layers in AutoCAD is that I can give each layer unique color. As discussed in the plot styles tutorial, different colors can equal different line weights based on your plot styles or pin settings in AutoCAD. We'll click over to Layout 1 and take a look at this layout. I'm going to go to File and Page Setup Manager. We can see that the pin settings for this are the MSU LA plot styles. Those are plot styles already created that we've loaded into this AutoCAD, and it allows us to use certain colors to equal certain line weights in this drawing. I'm going to go ahead and click the Display Plot Styles here. We'll then say OK and close. Also click the line weights or show line weight down in the bottom right. We'll notice that those colors that we see in model space, in paper space, they actually show up as line weights. Now another way to check this, if you don't actually show the line weights here, is to go back to Page Setup Manager, uncheck this, but we can also preview from here and we can see it as well. In this particular drawing, I might decide that the score joints are too pronounced on this drawing and I want to change them to a lighter line weight. By already having them on one layer, I can simply go into that layer, change the line color, and have it change in my drawing. I'll do that here. If we zoom back in, we can see that the line type is a subtle gray and much more recessed in the drawing. This is one of several ways that layers are going to be really helpful in AutoCAD, as they are in a lot of other software that we use in the profession. Layers are also incredibly important as you begin to edit, develop these drawings, and certainly when you're working with other people.